gamers, bladers, and fellow awesome nerds. It is I, Bakudad, one half of the Baku Boys, and if this is your first time to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. Also, please be sure to drop us a comment so you can help keep our channel growing as we do try and release weekly Bakugan, Beyblade, and other awesome nerdy content every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into what I've got in store for you guys for this video. So, today is Saturday, March 12th. And if you remember from what I said on Wednesday, for the Wednesday video, this week is solo board gaming week, or at least tabletop week, as Baku Kid and I were calling it. But this week has been focused around a lot of solo board gaming, because Baku Kid and I don't always get to hang out and game like we want to sometimes. So I like to enjoy doing some tabletop gaming by myself every now and then. And for today's video, I have actually compiled my list of my top 5 personal favorite games, or at least my top 5 list of tabletop games that you can sit down and play solo. And for my number 5, and this list was actually not easy to put together, especially going into the top 3. That was where things got really difficult. But for my number 5 pick, so starting at the bottom, for my number 5 pick, we are, I'm going to be looking at, my pick is One Deck Dungeon. And what One Deck Dungeon is it is a 1 to 2 player game for ages 14 and up. Age doesn't really matter in my book at a lot of the time, but it takes about 30 minutes to play. And everything you need is inside this little box. It comes with a deck of cards, a bunch of different characters. It's got different character sheets. It comes with dice, and all you're doing is gaining experience, fighting monsters, and gaining treasure while you dig deeper or delve deeper into a dungeon and fight a boss at the end. There's I think, like, not that many bosses. I think there's like, 4 different bosses that you can pick to fight, but there's tons of hours of content to go through in this game. And I actually have not even, I've barely scraped what I can actually accomplish in this game. And this is One Deck Dungeon by Asmati Games. And that is my number 5 pick. My number 4 pick is another small box game. And this game is Dungeon Roll, and it is by Tiny Minstrel Games. Everything you need, just like One Deck Dungeon, is inside this box. And with it being called Dungeon Roll, instead of a deck of cards, there is nothing but dice in this game. So it's kind of like, it's almost like Yahtzee a little bit, but there are different characters that you can actually play as in the game, and each character has a different ability. And when you get ready to dive into the dungeon, you do three dives throughout the dungeon, but you start at level 1 and work your way up to level 10, and you fight dragons, you fight tons of different types of monsters, you collect treasure, and you make yourself more powerful. Before each dive, you actually have this this set of party dice that you roll, and you form your dungeon diving party that you dive into the dungeon together to go ahead and see how far you can make it throughout each dive. And you can play it with 1 player. It's 1 to 4 players, and it takes about 15 to 30 minutes. It's actually a very short game as well. Super fun. It's easy to bust out for parties. It's it's great to sit down and just play by yourself or with a couple friends for just a quick, easy game night. Same with One Deck Dungeon. Both games are actually super fun for super quick gaming nights. But that is my number 4 pick, Dungeon Roll by Tiny Minstrel Games. Now, my number 3 pick, my number 2 pick, and my number 1 pick were not easy. But we are going to start with my number 3 pick. And that is going to be a game we have seen in the past, and that is Space Marine Adventures, which takes place in the Warhammer 40k universe, and this is by Games Workshop. You've seen Bakudad and I play this quite a few times. It's for 1-4 players, takes about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how much time you spend during gameplay. It can actually take longer if you're playing with other people and strategizing, but for ages 8 and up, and let's see, I forgot what the age range was for this one. Oh, 8 and up for Dungeon Roll as well. But yeah, Space Marine Adventure, like I said, you've seen Bakudad and I play this quite a bit. We've had tons of hours of enjoyment with this game, and unlike the other two games, this is more of a board game style game where you actually have miniatures. You move around a map. You fight the Necrons, and just figure out how long you can survive throughout this game. And just some of the scenarios, it can almost be like a nightmare situation at times. You don't know if you're going to live. You don't know if you're going to die. But another fun game, lots of hours of enjoyment. My number 3 pick, Space Marine Adventures by Games Workshop. Now, my number 2 pick. This was also difficult, and this was actually the game that I played yesterday. And my number 2 pick is, this box is so heavy too. It is the legendary deck building game in the Marvel, for the Marvel villains. And yes, this, as you saw from the Wednesday video where I opened up the box and showed everything, there is still tons of hours of content that I can go through. That, and with the other box that I showed as well, there is just, gosh, there is literally so much that I can do in the game. Like, just the amount of cards I have for this game, it's just insane. And I don't think I will ever find a combo that I have not done, or a scenario that I have not tried again and again, or a boss that I have not beaten at this point. Because there's still characters in here that I have not really tried to combo up with. There are still bosses that I still have not tried to beat yet, like Galactus. He has got so much health, I don't know if I'll be able to do it on my own. Maybe if I find the right combo with characters. That's the other thing I really like about playing this game. When you set up a scenario, you can actually pick which villains and heroes you want to bring with you into that ally deck. You're just going to mix all those cards together. You don't know what cards are going to pop up in the lair, but you do know what cards are actually going into that random ally deck. You do know what cards are going to be going into the adversary deck. But you don't know what cards are going to pop up when. You don't know what bad guys or good guys you're going to face next in the game. And that's, I put this game up higher because of the amount of combinations and the amount of hours of content that I can still do with this game. And that is my number 2 pick, the legendary deck building game system with Marvel villains. And Now, coming up to my number 1 pick. This is a game that I have played a very small handful of times, but have had so much fun with each time I have sat down and played it. And my number 1 pick is, and the company that makes the legendary games, the legendary deck building system is Upper Deck. Had to remember that for a moment. But for my number 1 pick, I will be showing, or not showing everything in the box. I'm not going to even open the box. But my number 1 pick is Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion by Cephalofair Games. This is the game I wound up getting for Christmas, and I have only played this game like I said, a very small handful of times, but this game is unlike any other tabletop game that I have played in the past. It is a miniature-based game, but you also have a deck of... You also have a small card pool that you can utilize. It is almost like playing D&D or a fantasy RPG, but you're not using dice. You're using these cards to determine your actions, how many spaces you move, what you attack, where you attack. And the few hours that I have spent playing this game, it's gotten better. I've unlocked more as I've played through this because it's a legacy game. And with legacy games, you actually, as you play through it and beat more scenarios and stuff, you unlock more of the game and other stuff as well. And other stuff that you couldn't do before, now you can do this. And it's just so fun. And I've had so much enjoyment with this game, and I can't wait to sit down and enjoy more. And that is my number 1 pick, Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion by Cephalofair Games. And each of these games, if you want to check out a more in-depth description of these games, maybe some playthrough, there are other channels that have covered these games. I know Bakudad and I have already covered Space Marine Adventures, and I have covered the legendary deck building system. But maybe sometime in the future, when I do another Friday Night Fight solo adventure, I might try out one of the other games that I have not played. And these are, just because I showed off 5, doesn't mean these are the only 5 games that I can sit down and play solo in my collection. I actually have quite a few more games that I could sit down and solo play. And who knows, maybe I might do another top 5 showing off some other solo play games as well. But that is going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy this. If you did, please drop us a like. Please subscribe because it does help our channel out. Please drop me a comment letting us know, Bakudad and I, what you thought of tabletop game week this week. And especially with it being mostly centered around solo gaming as well. But until next video, I am Bakudad signing out, one half of the Baku Boys. And always remember to let it rip, Bakugan Brawl, and stay nerdy and awesome. Peace out, guys.